students and staff of NTU, co-chairs of Women at NTU, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure to be here today at the Women in Engineering, Science and Technology Symposium 2021. I'd like to thank NTU for organizing this really timely encounter and to invite me to present the European Union's thinking and action on this important topic and to share our experiences just a few days before International Women's Day. Empowering women in STEM continues to be a priority matter, as men still vastly outnumber women in most STEM fields. It's important not just for policymakers, but for anyone interested in addressing the challenges that our societies face. STEM graduates and professionals fuel the most technologically advanced and potentially most productive sectors in our modern economies. Yet, employers and business keep saying that they need more STEM graduates, especially as they face the need to adapt to the twin digital and green transitions. In Europe, there are less than 2 million STEM graduates every year, and these low numbers reflect another issue, the STEM disparity in STEM. Gender disparity in STEM. Only 1 in 3 STEM graduates is a woman. And when we zoom into the ICT field in particular, which provides so many of the jobs of the future, the number of women falls to 1 in 5 ICT graduates. This is very often because girls do not see how they fit in STEM fields. They lack role models that give science a female face. We need to change this perception, fight stereotypes that steer girls and young women away from STEM and actually proactively lead them towards STEM. So today I'm really happy to share with you some insights on the EU gender policy priorities in research and innovation. In my presentation, I'll focus on 2 aspects. Firstly, how internally within the EU we address and promote gender within our research and innovation programs, what have been some of the main lessons learned and challenges and achievements over the years. And secondly, I will touch very briefly upon how gender is part of our external policies in cooperation with third countries in general and more specifically in our cooperation with ASEAN. So let me start with some background information. Our work on gender equality has been work in progress over quite a long period. Equality between women and men is one of the European Union's founding values. It has been enshrined in the Treaty of Rome back in 1957, which includes the principle of equal pay for equal work. We have made significant progress over these past decades as a result of concrete measures, and notably equal treatment legislation has been passed. Secondly, gender mainstreaming and the integration of the gender perspective into all other policy areas has been achieved, and specific measures that have been implemented for the advancement of women over many years. But no doubt, significant gender gaps remain. 2020 marked the 25th anniversary of the adoption of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, which was the first universal commitment and action plan to advance on equality between women and men. On this occasion, the EU reinforced its commitment by adopting a new gender equality strategy for the years 2020 to 2025. A strategy announced as a political priority by the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, at the beginning of her mandate. In the specific area of research and innovation, the European Union and its member states have worked together on a strategy which has evolved over the years and is starting now to pay back. Initially geared more towards a thinking of fixing the women through mentoring and support schemes, our policy has now evolved into a more global, systemic approach to tackle gender inequalities through structural changes. This approach is visible in the European Union's flagship research and innovation program, Horizon Europe, that has a budget actually of 95.5 billion euro over the period of 2021 to 2027. So it is a very significant program of research and innovation. I'll explain more about this policy in the next slides. So we are looking into specific actions to overcome persisting gender gaps, notably through our main program for research and innovation. What has been Horizon 2020 until last year has now been replaced this year by its successor program called Horizon Europe. Horizon Europe has 4 main EU gender equality objectives, as seen on this slide, following up on the work already done under its predecessor program. Firstly, obviously, the first objective is to achieve a greater participation of women in research and innovation programs. Secondly, we also need to do more and better integrate the gender dimension in the content of research and innovation projects. We also have countries in action dedicated to gender equality in research and innovation organizations. And finally, the gender equality objective is being broadened to also look at preventing other potential grounds for discrimination, such as ethnicity, disability, and sexual orientation, with the aim to make research and innovation truly inclusive. So with these objectives on gender equality, the support to talented women in research and innovation is being stepped up in the new Horizon Europe program. In comparison with its predecessor, Horizon Europe has also introduced new measures to strengthen gender equality as a cross-cutting issue. So, for example, I give you some examples of that. Firstly, the integration of the gender dimension into research and innovation content, which means sex and gender analysis becomes now a requirement by default across the whole program. Secondly, there's a new eligibility criterion to get access to Horizon Europe funding. All public bodies, research organizations, and higher education establishments will be required, starting from 2022, to have a gender equality plan in place as a precondition. And specific funding will also be made available for actions supporting the development of inclusive gender equality plans. So entities that may be eligible for funding can get this help in order to meet the precondition of a gender equality plan. Fourthly, specific funding will be put aside for gender studies and intersectional research. Then also support will be given to flagship measures and activities promoting gender equality under the European Innovation Council. And this includes a target of 40% women-led companies to be invited to pitch their projects. And finally, particular attention will also be paid to ensuring gender balance in evaluation panels and in other relevant advisory bodies. All these actions build on lessons learned mainly, but not exclusively, from the previous Horizon 2020 research program. Horizon 2020 made significant progress to promote gender equality in research and innovation policy by establishing gender as a cross-cutting issue, in addition to supporting specific actions promoting gender equality. Nevertheless, results were still far from satisfactory. Women's participation remains suboptimal. Women still face persisting structural barriers to their career progression in research and innovation organizations across Europe, and the gender dimension remains inadequately addressed in the contents of research and innovation. All this is documented in a report released last year and publicly available on the achievements of gender equality within Horizon 2020 that you see on this slide. In 2018, the EU also published the EU She Figures report, our main source of pan-European comparable statistics on the state of gender equality in research and innovation. This report is published every 3 years, so watch it, because the next edition will come out in the next few months. The EU She Figures of 2018 showed an overall picture of improvement, but progress is at a too low pace. Let's look at the next slide. The report showed that women make up almost half of all PhD students, so there's still gender parity almost. Although there are more highly qualified women in Europe than ever before, nevertheless progress at higher levels is still slow, and the leaky pipe can be seen clearly the higher in the hierarchy we look. Women still account for only 24% of top-level academics and just 22% of heads of higher education institutions. In addition, women continue to be severely underrepresented in innovation and patenting activities in the EU. In the EU, for each invention by a woman, there are 10 by men. Such a discrepancy is not acceptable, we feel, nor sustainable, and we are committed to encouraging and supporting women to embrace entrepreneurship. These statistics are crucial in guiding our policy responses, also through large communication and awareness campaigns. To address the particular discrepancy between women and men in innovation, we created an EU prize for women innovators, and as of last year launched the campaign EU Women for Future with the hashtag you see on this slide. We believe that what we need is a complete cultural change that needs systematic and coordinated actions, education and strong political commitment by all actors involved. On this slide, you also see an impression of the virtual award ceremony for women innovators that took place last September with the European Commissioner for Research and Innovation, Maria Gabriel. The winners included 3 women innovators and 1 rising innovator. Let me briefly introduce them to get a feeling of what are the kind of profiles we have been selecting. Firstly, Maria de Ruasi from Switzerland is the founder and CEO of a company that develops therapeutic cancer vaccines. There's also Maria Fatima Lucas from Portugal, who's the co-founder and CEO of a company developing computer-designed industrial enzymes by applying molecular modeling. And thirdly, there's Arantxa Martinez from Spain, who's a co-founder of a company that helps to tackle poverty through technological innovation, providing support to vulnerable women and children. These are all impressive women and the kind of innovators that can truly serve as strong role models. They can explain why they are enthusiastic about what they do and can give other women and girls a lens through which they can view their own future. The EU Women for Future campaign features extraordinary women active in research, innovation, education, culture and sports. It puts the spotlight on some of the great achievements that will help shape tomorrow's Europe and can maybe be also an inspiration for women in other parts of the world. So I encourage you all to have a look at the hashtag on social media. To conclude, just let me add a quick word on including gender perspective in dialogues with third countries in science and technology. In general, gender equality is at the core of the EU's engagement with partner countries worldwide. It's part of our commitment to the implementation of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. EU gender-related cooperation with third countries is being reinforced, but the inclusion of gender in formal agreements, work programs, and joint activities in international science and technology cooperation is still rather low. We are working to change that. Also, we are promoting concrete research initiatives on gender and promoting gender equality through the EU worldwide network of researchers called EUREXIS that was also instrumental in setting up the Asia-Pacific Women Inventors and Innovators Network. This slide shows a concrete example of our dialogue with ASEAN on gender. In October 2018, the first ASEAN-EU dialogue on gender equality and empowerment of women and girls took place in Hanoi. And this is just one of many activities in line with the ongoing ASEAN-EU Action Plan, which includes the promotion of gender equality as an integral part. As a follow-up, work assessing women's political participation and leadership is now ongoing. Let me conclude with a word on the International Day of Women and Girls in Science that was celebrated only a few weeks ago on 11th of February. On social media, we could watch videos of inspirational women from all over the world engaged in extraordinary work. Let's all be inspired by them. And I would like to finish my intervention with a wish shared on that occasion by the European Union Commissioner Maria Gabriel. Let's make sure that every day is a day to celebrate women and girls in innovation and science. Thank you very much and have a good symposium. Thank you.